You're listening to Off Script with Tiffany. This is real talk, random thoughts, and no script. Thanks for listening. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Off Script with Tiffany. This is the podcast where I share my random thoughts. We have real talk, and this is without a script, just me and a couple of bullets in my notes app. So I am your host, Tiffany Hudson, and I thank you guys for watching and coming back for another episode. We are on episode 9, I believe, of this podcast that I started almost 6 months ago. It's about 6 months ago. I decided to go ahead and just go ahead and go for it because the podcast is something I've been wanting to do forever. So I decided to just go for it, and I just pressed record. So if you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thank you again for watching, and shout out to my 11 subscribers here on YouTube. You guys are amazing. And today is probably going to be a quick one. We are just going to kind of just catch up on what's been going on lately. And I'm going to share my bingo update for you guys. So really just kind of jump into it. So y'all, if you've been here, you know that I've been going through some changes. I've been going through some struggles at work, but there is light at the end of the tunnel because we have a new job for next school year. So yes, but we are on summer break countdown. So today, me recording this is actually the last Monday of the school year. So today was day 1 of our field day for our kids. So it was very chaotic, but I found an activity to do that wasn't really loud. It was a lot going on, y'all. But anyway, so I found an activity to do because we have our end of the year ceremonies coming up, and it's a lot going on, and so I decided to kind of help prep for that. So that's what I did today while the kids were having like their field day and stuff, because y'all, it rained all weekend. It's hot outside. It's humid. It rained this morning right before the day started. So I wanted no parts of going outside. So I hung out in the gym for a little bit, kind of walked around, kind of like checked it out. And then I went back to my office and I was doing work. So, but the kids had a great time. And tomorrow is actually day 2. And then Wednesday is all of our ceremonies. And then Thursday is the last day of school for students. And then I have another, 6 days after that. So it's almost over. We are on summer countdown. So we're really excited about that. Really excited. I'll be working a summer program at a local college here in Atlanta. So I'm really excited about that opportunity, as well as transitioning to my new role in my new school. So those are some of the just life updates that are happening, or that have happened. But y'all, I have come to you guys because, we'll start with a bingo update. So for those who are new here, I did not do a vision board for 2025. I am on TikTok, and I'd seen some people talking about they're creating a bingo card for their year to kind of gamify and kind of help keep them accountable and keep count of the things and the goals that they achieve. So I thought that was a really great idea. So I too created a bingo card for my 2025. So I created a 5x5 card, and on that 5x5 card, I have 24 goals I want to accomplish in various areas: financial, career, health and wellness, relationships, personal, things like that. And so I created 24 goals, and I have a free space. That makes 25. So just to quickly recap some of the things I've already accomplished. So I have launched my coaching business, Amity Coaching and Consulting. I've gotten a new job. I've gotten a new cell phone. I've upgraded to the iPhone 16. I have hosted a webinar. So with my coaching business, I am an executive function and ADHD coach, and I have hosted 2 sessions of a parent webinar on how to help your student or help your child with their organization. Those are really cool. The first time, no one showed up, but it was cool because I got to practice, and I'm kind of new with hosting things on Zoom and using the PowerPoint. So it was a learning experience. I recorded it. I put it out there for those who missed it. So I still count that as a win. And then I did a replay for those who missed it. So that one was from last week, actually. So it went really well. So that's there. I also visit a new city. So for my birthday, I went to St. Augustine with my boyfriend. And that also comes to vacation because that was our I was actually our second vacation total, but our first one for this year. So that got checked off the list. Try 4 new restaurants. I've been trying different restaurants in every city I've been to this year so far. And I've been to 2 new cities because I went to Philly also. So I've been to Philly, St. Augustine, Savannah, even here in Atlanta, I've tried new restaurants. So I've been able to do that and creating a digital product. So through my coaching business, again, I've created time trackers, planners, and a few other worksheets that are online. And then the last one that I've accomplished lately, attended a concert. Y'all, and not only did I attend just any concert, I attended Cowboy Carter. Yes, oh y'all. Okay, so for those who may or may not know, for those who know me personally know this, but for those who don't know, or you're getting to know me, I love concerts. I love live music. I love seeing my favorite performers in person. I think those are some of the best experiences that you can have. So some people, I'm an experienced person, so I don't spend a lot of money on like clothes and shoes and things like that. I would rather spend my money on experiences, going on vacations and going to concerts. And y'all, when I tell you, it was amazing. So, and this was an extra special experience for me because I have seen Beyonce before. I'm trying to think how many times I've seen her. I think I've seen her 5 times total. I'm thinking about the like different tours. And let's see, I'm actually pulling it up so I don't forget anything. So I've done Formation. I've gone to the Formation World Tour, Mrs. Carter, On the Run 2, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter. So yes, I've seen Beyonce live 5 times. And so each time is amazing. I've never had a bad time at a Beyonce concert, but every concert I've been to for Beyonce, I've gone by myself, because I would, tell my friends, hey, let's go. They'd be like, yeah, we're down. And then something happens. Or when they're ready, I'm not ready to get my ticket and they just end up not going. So this concert was very special because my sister went with me. So this was the first time that I've ever attended a Beyonce concert with another person, and it was my little sister. And so she was like, when it was announced that Beyonce was going on tour, she was like, you know what, I really want to go because, my sister has a theory that she feels like Beyonce is going to retire soon. So she won't be going on tour much longer. So she wanted to catch her while she could. And honestly, there are times when like some of the greats have unfortunately passed away. So she was like, I don't want that to happen anytime soon. We're not hoping that for her, but she feels like she's going to retire. So she wanted to see her at least once. Even though she's not the biggest Beyonce fan, she does enjoy some of her music, and she knows that Beyonce is a great performer. So with that being said, my sister was like, but I'm not coming to Atlanta to see her. My sister lives in Chicago, and so she was like, I'm not coming to Atlanta. You got to come here. And so if you know the tour dates for Beyonce, she's in Chicago. Her last was this past weekend, and then she's not coming to Atlanta until July. So yeah, I had to go to Chicago, and it's the end of the school year. I ain't got no more personal time, so I took a sick day. I was like, yeah, I have an appointment. So I took the day off on Friday and actually drove up to Chicago from Atlanta. And the reason I did that is because I had to bring my dog with me. And so I was like, all right, cool, just road trip. I've done that drive a million times. Like, I'm a pro at it at this point. It's not that bad, as long as I've got some really good music. And it's a pretty easy drive. And so I did that. So I left Friday morning, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, I was good to go. Me and the dog, we're packed up, we're good to go. Y'all, I don't know if this is a punishment for like taking off work or whatever, but y'all, the trip itself, it was fine. So if you've ever driven from Atlanta to Chicago, you go through a few states. You go through Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and then you go into Illinois and Chicago. Tennessee is fine. That's like a 3 hour going through from Atlanta. Boop, you go through. It's quick and easy. Kentucky is pretty quick and easy. The worst part of the drive is Indiana. And this is no shade to my listeners in Indiana, but to get to Chicago, you've got to drive the entire state of Indiana. And if anybody knows, any geography people out there, if anybody knows about landforms and things like that, Indiana is flat and plain. So it is flat and plain. There's like fields and like farms. It's farmland. It's springtime. And it was unseasonably warm. So let's just kind of, for my weather people, let's think about all of those things and kind of what is that a recipe for? If you said tornadoes, you are right. It is a recipe for tornadoes, and that is what I encountered in Indiana. So again, Tennessee, easy. Kentucky, great. Get to Indiana, from Louisville, go across the bridge, you're in Indiana. Driving maybe 80 miles into the state. That's when you get to Indianapolis, their capital. Get through Indianapolis, and then you continue. And even through Indianapolis, I still think you have about another 3 hours or so before you get to Chicago. So you still have a great bit of state left. North of Indianapolis, I know as I'm driving through Indianapolis, I noticed like the storm clouds. It's like, okay, it's about to rain. Cool, I knew that. So the weather, it also said like the weather app was like tornado warnings. And so, no. I said watch. No. Warning. Warning is like, no. I think it's tornado watch. So I always get those confused, watch with warning, which one's worse. I think the watch is like, hey, be on the lookout. And then the warning is like, it's here. So I have the app, so we're good. So I'm driving past Indianapolis. I'm north of that. And before I get to the windmills, again, if you've been in Indiana, there's like 20 miles of windmills. Those things scared me at first, but like now I'm kind of used to them. And the sky's really dark. The wind is really strong. And it's like blowing my car. So I have like a little Nissan SUV, and it's blowing. My car's like jerking kind of a little bit, and I start to get scared. So I'm just trying to stay calm. I call my sister, and I like panic, y'all. Like I panic. I'm like, oh my God, my car's shaking. There's nowhere for me to go. Because I'd gotten off on an exit, but that exit was kind of like industrial. Like there was like a couple industrial buildings, but nothing else. So then I had to get back on the expressway, and I'm noticing the semi trucks are pulling over and like have their hazards. So I'm like, oh crap, like you know what I mean. You kind of gotta watch. And another thing that kind of like gave me like, okay, something's like not right. My dog. So my dog was in the back the whole time. She was laying down. She was chilling. She was good. She then kind of gets in the front and starts kind of whimpering, like telling me like, hey, something's wrong, like what's going on? Like she was a little nervous. So again, car shaking, and I end up going to the next exit because there was a gas station. So I go there, I kind of collect my thoughts. Even the gas attendant, he's like, things are blowing over. And so he's going to pick up stuff. I'm watching him do that. And I'm like talking to my sister. I'm like, I'm scared. Like the car's really like shaking and the wind's kind of blowing my car. I don't know what to do. At this point, I'm like, it's too late to go back home. Like, because at this point we're like 7 hours into like an 11-hour drive. So 10-hour, 11-hour drive. So like we're in there. So there's no going home. There's no like, oh my gosh, I can turn around. No, we're like into the thick of it. And so she was like, well, if you go a little bit north there, like it's kind of like you're getting through it. Like I was like on the tail end of it. I was like, okay, I kind of got my thoughts together. I got my life together. I was like, okay, let's do this. I don't have a choice. Let's go. So y'all, time I got back on the expressway, here's the sun. was like, what the hell? So time I got back on the expressway, like I'm seeing blue sky, I'm seeing like pretty clouds, I'm seeing sun. So I continue the drive. There's a little bit more rain off and on, but it wasn't bad. So then after I got off the phone with my sister, my boyfriend calls me. He's like, hey, he was like, are you in Indianapolis? I said, I'm like north of it. Why? What's up? He was like, yeah, I was watching. He watches the nightly news with Lester Holt like every night. He was like, yeah, Lester Holt just told me there were tornadoes in Indiana, like right where you were. I said, of course. I said, of course there were, because exactly. So apparently there were tornadoes that touched down in the area I was in, and I did not see any tornadoes, but I was feeling the results of the tornadoes. So yeah, so that was the first one because there was multiple things that happened. So I was like, I'm okay. I was like, I'm freaking out. Like I said, yeah, I panicked. I called my sister. She kind of talked me down. Um, like y'all, I panicked to the point where I scared her, and she is not easily shaken. Um, so yeah, so he was like, yeah, I saw that. He's like, I want to make sure you're okay. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, he's got the weather pulled up on his phone for me. Like, I like shout out to my people because between my sister, my mom, and my boyfriend, the three of them are going to tell me the weather because I do not check. Y'all, that's one of my ADHD things. I'm like, I don't know. They're like, look, you're going here. It's like it's storming really bad. So like, shout out to my people because they keep me informed weather-wise. So then continue the drive. And maybe about an hour later, yeah, probably about an hour later, I'm still in Indiana. My sister calls me and she's like, hey, by the way, there's also dust storms that are happening in Chicago and Illinois and like Indiana. What's a dust? I've never even heard of a dust storm. What is that? So she's like, yeah, it's about 30 more minutes on the warning. I just wanted to let you know. So she's like, you should be fine, but I just want to let you know that that's also happening. Like, I know you just like experienced like remnants and like little pieces of a tornado, but now you've also got like a dust storm to worry about. And y'all, I did get dirt. There was like, you get like, like you ride in like dust and like the residues on your window. I have that on my car. So clearly I got some of that too. But I will say it was worth it. I would do it again. Like to see Beyonce, y'all, again, even if you're not the biggest Beyonce fan, you gotta admit she's a great performer and you have to see her live at least once. So dealing with all of that to get to Chicago, um, so that was Friday. So I got to Chicago Friday night, got settled, just chilled. And then Saturday, we got up, took the dog around, we do our little walks. And me and my sister and I went to brunch. It was, y'all had major difficulties there. So, anyway, back to brunch. So, we went to this spot. It's called Honey Bear. It's really great in Chicago on the north side. So if you are in Chicago, please check it out. It was amazing. The food was good. It was reasonably priced. And y'all, we met the nicest people at our brunch. So while we were there was a group of women next to us. And then there was somebody on the other side of us sitting by herself. She like took herself on a date. And so as the group of women were leaving, they're a little bit older than us. I would say like maybe about 10 years older than us. They were like, hey, y'all, do you want this Prosecco, this mimosas, basically? They were like, we're leaving, we're done. There's like almost an entire bottle of Prosecco left. So we were like, sure. Like, who is going to turn down free mimosas? Not me. So anyway, so they gave us the Prosecco, they gave us pineapple juice, orange juice. It was delightful. So my sister is not a drinker, and so she had like a splash of Prosecco and mostly orange juice. And me, I am a drinker, but for those who don't know, I had bariatric surgery about 3 years ago, So my stomach is small, so I can only drink so much because it impacts me faster. So I had two mimosas. And so we still had a like good chunk of our like prosecco left. And so we did what we engaged in some black girl magic, and we passed the bottle. Y'all, we played pass the bottle. We played musical prosecco at this brunch because the person next to us, she was like, yeah, I'm taking myself on a date, just getting some work done, doing some things. She's like, I'm really not a big drinker, so I'm just gonna have a little bit. So she poured her a glass. The waitress brought her a glass over. She poured herself a glass. She made herself a mimosa. There was still prosecco left, y'all. So then what did she do? She passed it to the young black ladies, the black women beside her, and they finished it. And it was really cool because the person next to us was like, hey, are y'all here for Beyonce? We were like, yeah. We were just talking about how just being in Chicago, and like my sister lives there, but she was telling us some things to do and some spas to check out. And y'all, I just really loved the sister black girl love that was displayed at that brunch. From the original table passing it to us, we got to pass it on. We got to pass on the love and the sisterhood, and we connected over mimosas at brunch in Chicago. It was amazing. And you know what? No shade to Atlanta because I love Atlanta. I love being from Atlanta. I love living here, but Atlanta would never. I'm just being completely honest. I have been to many a brunch here in Atlanta, and number one, it wouldn't have been as cheap as like I paid. I think for me and my sister, we had coffee, we had juice. Of course, they didn't charge us for the prosecco because the first table paid for it. But our meals, like our two like full meals, like $50, and plus I tipped another $10. So I spent $60 on a brunch. Where like in Atlanta, like my biscuits and gravy alone would have been almost $30 because, child, we don't get into that today, but the brunch and the overcharging and the service industry in Atlanta, it's ridiculous, but that is another podcast for another day. So just to say, Atlanta would never, okay? First of all, we wouldn't leave mimosa. We would not leave that restaurant till that Prosecco was gone. And then number two, to give people liquor, I feel like when people think of like Atlanta and like other southern cities, like that southern hospitality, y'all, I'm not gonna be, again, no shade to Atlanta because I live here. I love it here. But yo, people in Atlanta are not as like hospitable as you think they are. And I think that's from like so many people from other places coming, but like, again, another podcast for another day. But I honestly think the people in Chicago are nicer than the people in Atlanta. Don't shoot the messenger. But anyway, so we went to brunch. After brunch, we went back to my sister's house for a couple of hours to just kind of decompress, chill, relax. I was reading books because, y'all, summertime is when I get my reading in. So I love my novels. I love my Kindle. And so I was doing some reading and she was doing a little bit of work. And then honestly, we started getting ready for the concert. So the doors opened at 5. The concert was supposed to start at 7. So our goal was to get there between like 5:30 and 6, just to give us time to get in, get any food, get situated, and things like that. So, and being in Chicago, my sister doesn't have a car. She doesn't drive. So we were having to take either an Uber or public transportation. So we ended up taking an Uber to Soldier Field. So for those who don't know, Soldier Field is where the Chicago Bears play, their football team, and their stadium has no roof on it. I am from Atlanta. My stadium where my Falcons play is Mercedes-Benz. We have a roof. It is retractable, but we have a roof. So, yeah, they don't have a roof. So I'm like, first of all, how do y'all go to games in the like fall and winter with no roof? That's number one. And for those who've never been to Chicago or are not familiar, Chicago is called the Windy City. They're not lying. It's very windy there. That is so very on brand. So Chicago is right there on Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan looks like an ocean. You cannot see the other side of Lake Michigan. You cannot see the coast of the other states that border it or Canada. That's how big it is. It's a great lake. And water comes off that lake. it's windy and it was cold. So, Chicago has true seasons: summer, fall, winter, summer, spring, excuse me. It's very much springtime. So, like, when the sun was out, it was nice. But baby, when the sun went down and that wind, and I'm already cold, like right now, like I'm having like a tank top on and I'm like over trying not to shiver for you guys. But it was cold. It was cold. So I am definitely a summertime shy girl. Like, I love Chicago in the summer is probably unmatched to almost any city in America. But but Chi-Town in the spring, bring a jacket, bring a sweatshirt. Because even that morning I walked the dog, it was like 50 something degrees. So they have true spring. So it was kind of cool, like cold, cool. And so we got there probably a little before 6. And y'all, it was so easy to get into that stadium. Again, I'm used to Atlanta. I'm used to big crowds. I'm used to long lines. I'm used to waiting a very long time. I just knew if we got there at 6, we'd probably be walking in the building closer to 7. No. We walked right in. There was no line to get in. Security was fast. They like didn't look at your stuff. Like, I'm used to them going through, and y'all, it is so chill in Chicago compared to Atlanta. Just, it was amazing. Like, I would go to another concert easily in Chicago, but preferably in the summertime or closer to summertime, or just knowing that it gets cool, I would be better dressed and prepared. So, outfit, I will insert probably right around here what I wore. I went very, like, I would say country casual. So I found this really cute like rodeo shirt. I bought like a little western belt with a buckle. I had on some little booties, and my hat did not get here in time. I was a little sad about that. I did want a cowboy hat, but it didn't come in time. But it's fine. I still think looked good and like on theme, but not like, it didn't look costumey, and I was still able to like, I didn't look like overdressed. It was a lot of different fashions there. It was a lot of different looks. Some people were extremely smart and brought coats because they know their city. Again, next time I'm bringing a coat. And it was just really cool. We had a really good time. We got food. We got some, I got a drink. And we waited. So again, the tickets at concert started at 7. It was almost 8:30. Like, just being honest, it was almost 8:30 when the concert started. So if you are going to Cowboy Carter, take your time. She ain't starting on. It is not starting until 7 o'clock. It's gonna be after 8 before it starts. And from the comments from the LA show, it was about the same. It was after that. So if y'all have been to Beyonce, there is no opening act. So yeah, so she did her thing. So we were very excited. Again, my sister, she wanted to just have the Beyonce experience, and she was there initially. She was like, I want to see Blue Ivy. And then as videos came out and we started seeing Rumi, she was like, oh, I'm a Rumi stan. They did not disappoint. So I'm very happy to share that they were both at the concert. They did not disappoint. I loved it. I love a concert. I love to sing. I love to dance. I was doing all of that. They give you these really cool wristbands. They say Cowboy Carter. It looks like the sash. It's the red, white, and blue. It says Cowboy Carter. And on it's a light. And like throughout the show, they have like different like the light show. You are the light show. So that's really cool. Little concert tip. You can keep the wristband, but they want the lights back. So keep the band, give them back the lights, so they can reuse them. And I had a time. Concert was about 3 hours, and it was amazing. I always enjoy Beyonce concert. I'm singing, I'm dancing, I'm standing up the entire time. The only time I sat down was like during the little intermissions, where she, you had like your little visuals, your little movies and vignettes. And it was great. I would say of the 5 Beyonce concerts, I'd probably put this at 2 or 3. Renaissance is probably still hands down my favorite. Then I'd probably put Cowboy Carter, or would I do Mrs. Carter? I don't know. I'm going to sit down and like go through them, but it's definitely top 3 but like my number one is still Renaissance, like hands down. And I'd probably say number five was On the Run too. Like I didn't have a problem with it, but like I'm here for Beyonce, not Mr. Beyonce. But anyway, so a time was had. We had a good time. Getting out we knew it was gonna be crazy, so we walked away from. Excuse me. Whew. We knew that leaving was going to be crazy because it was a lot of people. So we walked away from the stadium to get the Uber, and that took a while. But we got the Uber. So y'all, we did not get home until after almost 1 o'clock Sunday morning. And then we had to turn around and get ready to go and get in the car because we actually left Chicago Sunday. And we got up at between 5 and 5:30. So running off like 4 hours of sleep, and we packed up, and my sister actually rode back with me to Atlanta because she's going to be here for a couple of days, and then she's flying back home on Wednesday, I think. So that was the experience. By the time I got back home Sunday, my mom looked at me because she had my daughter. She looked at me and she was like, you've been through it. I was so exhausted, y'all. I am just now catching up on my sleep. I'm actually surprised. So I'm recording this on Monday night. So I got home like yesterday, and I'm surprised I'm up. I'm surprised I'm not like exhausted, but that whole ADHD and that I get that hyper focus late at night. So this is typically when I record my podcast, I do it pretty much late at night. I started like 11. So anyway, so that was my Cowboy Carter experience. I definitely loved it. I enjoyed it. I would go again. I actually have decided that I do want to try to get tickets for the Atlanta show, but I'm going to do day of. So for those who have done that before, please put in the comments your experience, like day of. What are some tips? What have you tried? What works? What doesn't work? Because I would love to see it again. I definitely enjoyed myself. Like I said, I love a concert. I love Beyonce. I think now I've seen Beyonce more than I've seen anybody else. I think the next person that I would have seen about the same, if not a little bit more, is Frankie Beverly Mays. Rest in peace. And I love when she did Before I Let Go and how she like connected to him and how she paid tribute. Loved it. Yeah, I think I've seen him 3 times. I think I saw him 3 times. 3, if not 4. But now I've seen Beyonce by herself 4 times. And then again, I did On the Run 2. So that counts as 5. So anyway, so that was my experience. Loved it. Went through a lot to get there. Again, tornadoes and dust storms and the stress, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think next time I go to Chicago, I will probably fly and I will just find a dog sitter, because that's the reason I didn't fly, is because my dog was with me. Yeah, no, she ain't coming. So that was that. All right, you guys. So AITA for telling my coworker her kids are none of my business. All right, let's check this out. All right, school holidays are coming up, and I have a coworker panicking as she left it too late to book vacation slots. My company had a rule where no more than 3 workers can leave at the same time for vacation. I already filled in my vacation slot months ago, and I haven't taken any in nearly a year. I'm single and unmarried and in my 30s. Company HR told my coworker that her only way to get her vacation is to get one of us who already had our time approved to trade with her. And considering out of the 3 of us whose vacations were approved, I'm the only female. Guess who my coworker approached me for the trade? She tried explaining gently at first that her kids, 6 and 4 years of age apparently, were really looking forward to going to Disneyland and that everything is already booked, and if I can give up my vacation spot to her. I told her no, as I too already had my vacation booked. It's a solo vacation, but I'm not about to tell her that. She got real pushy and kept on trying to insist I give her my vacation spot, saying that, quote, my kids would be disappointed. I blew up at her after the 4th or 5th time, telling her that, quote, kids being disappointed, quote, is none of my business. I didn't exactly keep my voice down, so at least half the office heard, and my coworker turned red and left. One of my coworkers, parentheses, 25 male, who sat at my side, who had heard the entire conversation, later told me that while he gets where I'm coming from, I could have been a lot gentler. And I quote, I didn't get how hard mothers get it. Am I the a-hole? Quick and dirty answer, no, you're not. I am a mother, so I'm a single mom. My daughter is almost 16. She's in high school. And we get school calendars at the beginning of the year. And I work in the school district. I have this year's calendar. I have next year's calendar. I have the year after next calendar. I have the 26-27 school year calendar. They get approved like 2 years in advance. We get those calendars at the least the very beginning of the year. So you know when vacations are. And if you choose to not do what you're supposed to do or do what you know protocol is in order to get your time off, then no, you do not have the right to ask somebody else to give up their vacation who followed protocol, who followed the rules because you have kids. I will say that, and this might be an unpopular opinion or people might disagree with me, I feel like people believe that just because they are a parent, they get special like privileges. And no, we don't. We chose to be parents. And so we know what comes with that. And so we need to govern ourselves accordingly as parents. So if we know a vacation is coming up, if we know we want to take our kids somewhere, then do what you need to do. When you booked the trip, go ahead and put for that time off at the same time. Because just because a person chooses not to have children does not make them less than or make their plans any less significant, especially if you know your company has a very tight rule about taking vacation. So for instance, if I know my company or my job is like, hey, only 3 or 4 people can take off, and I know, let's say fall break is in October, it's May, but let me go ahead and put it in now so that space isn't taken. Because again, we get calendars pretty early in advance that you can take off because sometimes people don't think about that. So for example, I usually go to a conference every November. It's May. I'm already thinking about the hotel because who's really thinking about a November conference in May? Y'all are thinking about summer. So absolutely not the a-hole. The person who asks should have, no is a complete sentence. And so once you told them no, stop asking me. So don't, people are like, oh, the person was like, oh, you could have been gentler. Well, that person could have stopped asking me. That person could have respected my response the first time. So absolutely not the a-hole. Brava. I hope you enjoyed your trip. They'll be okay. Disappointment is a part of life. So that is my opinion, not the a-hole. Put yours in the comments. What do you think? Is the person the a-hole for not giving up their vacation space for a mom? Let me know. All right, y'all, that is it. I told you guys this one will probably be a little bit shorter. So I guess hope you guys enjoyed episode 9 of Off Script with Tiffany, where I share my random thoughts. We have real talk, and this is all off script. I just got a couple bullet points. So thank you guys for watching. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm so truly thankful that you guys are taking this time out to watch this podcast that I randomly decided to start. But if you will do me the biggest favor, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You can go ahead and share this video with your friends. Engage in the comments. Let's talk about it. Is she the a-hole? What concerts do you like to go to? Have you ever been to Beyonce? Are you going to Beyonce? If you're in Atlanta, hit me up. We'll get drinks beforehand. Yeah. So what are your summer plans? What we got going on, y'all? I want to hear it all. Please put them in the comments. Again, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of Off Script with Tiffany. Bye. Happy New Year. It's time to talk about something we all strive for at the start of our year, getting organized. If that's a goal for you, I've got the perfect resource. My new ebook, New Year, New You. 7 tips to get you organized in the new year. This ebook gives you 7 actionable tips to help you organize your time, your space, and your goals for the year ahead. No matter where you're starting from, these strategies are designed to help you gain clarity and focus. I created this ebook because, let's be real, getting organized isn't always easy, especially with everything life throws at us. But with the right steps, it's totally doable. These are the exact strategies that I've used and taught to others, and they work. Ready to get started? Head to the link in the description and grab your copy of New Year, New You. Let's make this the year you finally feel in control and on top of your game. This has been Off Script with Tiffany, where I share my random thoughts, have real talk with no script. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.